everybody, welcome to another edition of Wade Watches. I'm Wade, and today I'm going to be talking about Babylon, the latest Damien Chazelle movie starring Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Diego Calva, and very briefly, Tobey Maguire, among many others. This movie has a packed cast. It's a big epic, and I'm here to give my opinion on it. I went in with high expectations because firstly, above all else, I am a sucker for movies that are about making movies. Um, Hail Caesar, Ed Wood, Hugo, and even Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I know I say it like it's not worth it. I'll be honest. The first time I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, not a big fan. But upon subsequent viewings, I did develop a soft spot for it because, like I said, I it made me realize that I really do appreciate movies that are about making movies, and I especially love movies that take place in old timey Hollywood. And in this case, we have a movie that takes place in the 1920s pre-sound era of Hollywood. It does progress. There are time jumps that go into the sound era and whatnot. But it begins in the silent movie era. So I was really excited for that. And plus, it's directed by Damien Chazelle, who directed Whiplash, which is easily one of my all-time favorite movies. Whiplash is a fantastic movie, so I had high hopes for this one, and I won't say I was at all severely disappointed, but it's definitely not the Oscar sweeping prestige picture that it's deliberately being marketed as, because it stars Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie, two heavy hitters. It's directed by a critically acclaimed director, Damien Chazelle. So it's definitely being marketed as the movie that's going to sweep all the Oscars. And that's funny because this movie surprisingly doesn't take itself super seriously to the point of even being kind of crass. And I definitely expected some of that because I saw the trailers, and the trailers kind of told you it's going to be this kind of just as the name suggests, Babylon, the city Babylon. Mostly because I know this for a fact, just from studying anthropology in college, that Babylon is synonymous with revelry and sin and you know just lawlessness and all this stuff. And this movie definitely did kind of tease that it was gonna be about just one big party cutting loose. Margot Robbie's character in the trailer says, I just want life to be one never ending party. So I went in kind of expecting the movie to just be about Robbie's character you know, trying to become this Hollywood big shot and make a bunch of money so she could just party and cut loose. And that is definitely that is definitely front and center in this movie. But given that it is 3 hours long, that's just one of the few plots going on here. There's also Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt in this movie is basically what Leonardo DiCaprio was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He starts out at the top. He's the biggest name, but as we get into the sound era, things kind of change. He finds himself in a different world. And those are pretty much the two big plots. There's also Diego Calva's character, Manny. He has stuff going on. His dream is to just work on movie sets. That's what he wants to do for a living. He's in love with films. And once again, as times change, as sound becomes more prevalent, things change for him too. And that's all I'll say. I don't want to ruin anything for you. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It's pretty much these people who are used to who these people who all want to work in the movie industry, who all want to work in the film industry, having to adapt to new technology in the world of cinema. They have to adapt to the progression of cinema. getting into the sound era, and that made for at times a very interesting watch. It had a lot to say about how difficult the filmmaking process was back then, and there were definitely a lot of scenes that I appreciated because of that. Just showing the contrast between now and back then, just showing the contrast between how much easier it is to get one take these days than to get, no, how much easier it is to get multiple takes these days than it is to get like just one take back then. And I can say that because I'm actually a production assistant intern, so yeah, I can actually attest to how much easier it is to get a multiple takes in this modern age than getting one take in the movie. And there's like one sequence where they're just trying to nail one bit of dialogue, like someone's character has to say this one line, and it is like just temperatures tempers just start to rise because it is just so difficult because they are so limited, by the times. And it crescendos in like one of the most hilarious things I've seen. I was like, my sides were hurting from laughing. I'm not, I am not exaggerating, because somebody just snaps because they're just so stressed out, and it was hilarious. So, yeah, obviously, obviously I didn't think it was a terrible movie. I don't think it was a bad movie. But I'll say what weighs Babylon down is this very, very bizarre need to have like just crass, gross out humor that honestly has no place in the movie, because this movie is very much, yet just like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or Ed Wood, is very much a love letter to the filmmaking process, to the medium of cinema, all that good stuff, just like those films are. But there are times when it just gets too like crass and goofy for me to really take that message that is trying to get across extremely seriously. And I think that's the main thing that brings Babylon down, because it just has conflicting identities. Babylon is a movie that doesn't know what it wants to be. Doesn't want to be, just this. Doesn't want to be like the Wolf of Wall Street in 1920s Hollywood, where it's just all sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Doesn't want to be this poignant love letter to cinema. Doesn't want to be this drama with tragic characters. It's all of those things and none of those things, and I think that's what brings it down for me. If it had just committed to maybe one, maximum two of those things, it would have made for a better movie. But as is, my enjoyment of it came from the backdrop that it's set in, and came from the handful of scenes that focus on old timey Hollywood. As somebody who studied film in school, I found myself saying, oh, I know that, I know what they're referencing, and the his that bit of cinematic history right there, I know what that is. That was neat, but that's not enough for me to be like, oh, I love this movie. So yeah, I'm not gonna go super low on this one, because I still got a lot of enjoyment out of it. It was really entertaining, but the main thing for me is the needless potty humor. There's literally gags that involve uh, of I don't know. I don't want to get demonetized, so there are sequences that I'll keep it classy. There are sequences that literally involve fecal matter and bodily fluids that they literally just came out of nowhere, and they were done. They seemed like they were done just for like shock value, just so people would be like, oh my gosh, that person's doing that. Oh my gosh, that is so gross. And that's like guys, that's like Adam Sandler at his worst material. Like that's like bad Adam Sandler movie material. I don't know where it came from, and it had no place in the story. And I can't ignore it, because I can't act like it's a small thing, because it's not. It happens at several points in this 3 hour long movie. They'll go from a poop joke to, oh, this is why cinema is so amazing, and that doesn't fit. I'm sorry, that just doesn't work for me at that doesn't work for me at all. So yeah, I'm not gonna go super low just because I am kind of a sucker for movies like Hail Caesar and whatnot that are kind of set in old timey Hollywood. But movies like, in my opinion, Hail Caesar, and Hugo and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood are definitely movies that did it better. So I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10, which is honestly a bit generous, all things considered. But I said what I said. I do love movies that are set in old timey Hollywood and that kind of make references to important parts of film history. So it wasn't terrible for me. I did thoroughly enjoy myself. So 7 out of 10 for Babylon. Well, that concludes this episode of Wade Watches. Stay tuned for another review that'll be uploaded very soon, just because I kind of saw these movies, around the same time. So I'm just going to get another review out of the way shortly after uploading this one. And with that in mind, I will see you all next time. Peace.